Hello, everybody. Welcome to Soulful Abundance with Chris Williams. I am so darn excited to share with you an amazing special guest. She is my coach and mentor, Kelly Roach, and she is going to really share some amazing things with you today. We're going to talk about 2024, kind of what are some of the changes in the market, what she's noticing behind the scenes. And so she's going to be sharing some juicy tips. And yeah, you definitely want to know Kelly. Be sure to check inside of the link. We're also going to share her podcast. Kelly shares amazing business strategy in her podcast, The Kelly Roach Show. And Kelly, welcome.
I'm so happy to be here. Hey,
Here.
Chris.
So tell us a little bit about you for those of our audience that don't know who you are, other than my amazing business mentor and coach.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I've been in the online space for over a decade now. I have a portfolio of 6 companies. My first company, which is called the Business Advisory, was really one of the first online businesses led by a female CEO to go to 8 figures in the online space without investors or debt or raising funds or anything like that, just bootstrapping from zero. And then, over the years, we were on the Inc. 5000 list multiple times, all those good things. And, then ended up splitting out some other companies to make the portfolio that I run today. But really all that matters is to know that the purpose and the focus of everything that I do is really just empowering people to achieve their potential through entrepreneurship as a vehicle to freedom, to being able to prioritize their families, to be able to really live a life that is faith-filled and is really centered around building a great life while making amazing money to make an impact in the world. And so that's what I love to do. That's why I'm here today. And I appreciate you having me, Chris.
Yeah, so glad to talk about that. That's one thing that really drew me to you was that conversation around not sacrificing our families, not
Mhm.
sacrificing our well-being, not
Yeah.
sacrificing all of the things just for
Yeah.
success.
Hmm.
And you model that so well. And I
Yeah.
just want to, thank you for speaking into that because we need
Thank
more
you.
women leaders who are not making those sacrifices at all
Yeah,
costs for success to
for
show
sure.
that it's actually possible. And you can have an amazing business. You can own 6 companies. You can have a portfolio of 10 million and more, and still go to your daughter's dance recitals
Yeah.
and hang out at the beach and enjoy family time.
Yeah,
So important.
for
Um,
sure.
Kelly, tell us a little bit about what is happening in the 2024 market. I know that things have changed even just in the past few years. Like it was so darn easy. It seemed like it was so darn easy, several years ago to kind of bring people in and, more people were, joining programs at a quicker pace. What are you
Yeah.
seeing?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's been a couple key changes in the market in the last couple of years, right? So, we went from a very stimulated market to a market that is no longer having those injections in it. We went from an expanding market to a contracting one because of those stimulus and injections. The online space, especially, for us, we're service providers in the online space, has definitely moved into a new level of market maturity, which is very natural, by the way. All industries go through that evolution. And, when industry is very young in its market maturity, everything feels new and fresh and exciting. And it's very easy to capture attention and get engagement. Whereas when something moves into further and deeper cycles of market maturity, the buyer has seen it. They've done it. They have made multiple investments in the space, all of those things. So we went from an expanding market to a contracting one. We went from a very stimulated market to one that's no longer being stimulated. We went to a new phase of market maturity, particularly the online space. And then, of course, there's the trickle down effect on the everyday person from these 3 factors. The average person has less disposable income than they did even 6 months ago because of inflation. Corporate America, Fortune 500s have been aggressively laying off for almost 2 years now. That's kind of the unspoken underlying story behind what's happening because it's not being spoken about that this is happening. But if you think about it, a lot of households have gone from a 2 income household to a 1 income household. So that's a very dramatic change. And wages just have not been able to keep up with inflation. So what that means is, even though a lot of businesses in this market are actually contracting and going forward, even a business that has stayed the same, whether it's you as an employee or you as an employer, if your salary hasn't changed, if your income hasn't changed, you're taking home significantly less.
Yeah.
And so we could probably spend the entire conversation. I could keep listing more and more and more factors. But the bottom line is it's important to know that these changes have taken place, because when you know better, you can do better. When
Mhm.
you understand that, oh, we were playing a game and these were the rules and here's how you won the game. And
Mhm.
now we understand, okay, the rules have changed. We can adapt our strategy. And so, Chris, you probably have noticed I have spent countless hours over the last 6 months having conversations like these very
Mhm.
intentionally, because so many of my peers are intentionally ignoring this conversation. And what happens is, when you ignore this conversation, you don't update your strategy.
Right.
And when you don't update your strategy, you get kind of taken by the tidal wave, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's really important to be aware, not scared. This is what I say to people all the time: be aware, not scared. When you're aware, you just adjust your strategy and you make sure that you're setting yourself up for success in the market of today, right? And what's really, really interesting, and what I've observed over my career, is when the market is tougher, it's actually a greater opportunity for growth than when the market is really easy. And
Mhm.
the reason why is that, when the market is easy, everyone's kind of on an even playing field. It's like, just by showing up to the game,
Right.
everyone kind of gets a trophy,
Mhm.
right? Whereas when the market gets hard, a lot of people opt out right away, which we're already seeing that now. We had the highest level of business closures in Q4 of last year that we've had, I think, in like a decade.
Wow.
So we're already seeing tons of people are getting out of the game. But as this progresses, there'll be more and more opportunity for the people that really put a stake in the ground. That's why I say, just be aware, don't be scared, just adjust your strategy, because there's going to be a significant amount of opportunity. And for a lot of people listening to this, you're actually going to have less competition in
Mhm.
the coming weeks and months, not more.
Mm.
Which is why I'm like, stick with me, guys, stick with
Yeah.
me, like it's going to be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, don't shut down. I love that so much. With the changes that we're hearing, how do you see that affecting, the online world? We know that we've got, many companies that are going through these changes. I've seen a lot of online coaches shut down things,
Yeah.
like you've been saying, people are going out of business. But you've done such a beautiful job of innovation through this whole time that we're seeing in multiple ways businesses that are growing. I mean, I
Yeah.
had the very first six-figure launch by implementing some of the changes that
Yeah.
you've taught me, which is amazing.
Yeah.
um, and so how do you see the strategy that needs to be adjusted for the people that are running online businesses?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, the first thing to think about is, so because the buying cycle has shifted and it's so much longer now, if you think about it, in a rapidly expanding market, you put almost 100% of your energy on front end customer acquisition, because you can invest money, you can acquire really quickly, you can make your money back immediately, and then just keep repeating that cycle.
Hmm.
That's typically how you do scalable growth in an expanding market. But in a contracting market, you won't be able to make that return on that investment in that same cycle the way that you could. And so it's very important to adapt your strategy to put less emphasis on strictly new lead generation, new customer acquisition, and actually rebalance your efforts around what you're doing with your in ecosystem leads, people already on your email list, people already on your Facebook group, people already following you on social media, people that applied to work with you but never joined, people that had a consultation but haven't bought yet, referrals that you've gotten that haven't closed. Because you can't just keep putting money out the front end of the business unless you're like a independently wealthy person,
Right.
because you have to be able to give yourself a few cycles to make that money back, So you have to be able to float yourself for longer with those investments that you're making in order to get a return. So how you close that gap is you make sure that instead of putting 100% of your sales energy towards new leads, new customer acquisition, that you're really putting a lot of your energy and focus on people that are midway through the cycle, they're a quarter of the way through the cycle, they've been in your ecosystem for a while, because those are the ones that you can really hone in on, shorten that cycle. It's not going to cost you anything to get those
Right.
leads. They're already in your world. And then you just facilitate them moving through the buying cycle more quickly.
Hmm. Yeah, and that is definitely something that has not been taught in
No,
many, many business programs. I
no.
mean, I know I didn't learn it in my, in my coaching school. I didn't learn it in multiple.
Yeah,
And, and this piece of really taking care of the people that are in your ecosystem already and
yeah,
reaching out to them. I mean, I know that's one of the reasons why I worked with you,
yeah,
because I was so well taken care of. Like, I had people reaching out, I had people letting me
yeah,
know that I was seen and heard and
yeah,
valued, and in a way that I have never experienced before. And
yeah,
so we know that people really respond to that. And I love the way that you're looking at it, that instead of continuing to put more money out to get more leads, because that's typically what people think, right? Oh, I just need more leads, I need more
yeah,
leads, I need more leads. Really, but what are you doing with the leads that you have right now? What are you
yeah,
doing with the people that are in the ecosystem right now? How are you supporting them and nurturing them and connecting with them and giving them another opportunity to learn from you is
yeah.
just so powerful.
Yeah. And one thing I'll add to that, Chris, just in regards to you were asking about the
Mhm.
changes,
Yeah.
70% of people surveyed in the first quarter of this year said, I want to work with a company where I have support, where I have like an actual human, connection. I don't know what the words that they use in their survey was. I
Yeah.
use human connection. They may have said customer service, or that I have a representative that I work with, but in essence, what they are saying is that they want to work with a person, and they want to have a relationship with the companies that they buy from.
Hmm.
And this is really important because so much of what's being taught in the online space is about funnels, automation, digitizing, and using AI.
Hmm.
And a lot of business owners, I believe, from my perspective and vantage point, and I have visibility into a lot of businesses on a very large scale. I think a lot of businesses are also going out of business because they chase the silver bullet of these shortcuts, and people are not wanting to buy that way. So in that exact time frame where they're wanting to focus more and more on AI, focus more and more on digitization and everything being automated, and step further back from the business, consumers are actually choosing instead to buy from a business where they feel like they can speak to a person and connect with the organization that they want to have a relationship with. So I think this is really good news for small businesses. I think this is
Yeah.
just a massive, massive opportunity. If you're a small business owner that is early stage that's listening to this show, I mean, my gosh, the sky is the limit, because bigger companies are like dinosaurs.
Mhm.
They have so many moving pieces, and it is so hard to turn the ship on anything that they do. Whereas a small business owner can like listen to this,
Mhm.
video and go make a decision right away. And in an instant, they can be connecting with more people. So the other thing that's really important to understand is, people are being far more discerning and more careful about what they're investing in because they know they can make less investments. They
Mhm.
have a smaller pool to work with. They know that that line item may have seemed this big before, but now it seems this big, right?
Mhm.
Because of inflation. And
Mhm.
so because of that, people are wanting to evaluate more closely the brands that they work with and the investments that they make, which is why more than ever, making sure that you're focused on, as you mentioned already, Chris, taking care of your current customers,
Mhm.
being in touch with people in your ecosystem, building relationships with people that you want to work with, focusing on that internal buyers list versus just chasing new leads, because now you're starting over a cycle that in this market could be 9 months to a year.
Yeah, thank you for speaking into that. I was just going to ask that.
Yeah,
We are, it used to be 17 touches, I think was the statistic that I remember years ago, where
yeah,
now it's 20 to 40,
yeah,
and, multiple hours of connection and interaction with somebody before they are ready to buy. And
Yeah.
so if, what is the process that you have
Yeah.
in place when they're just hanging out in your ecosystem for 9 months to a year?
Exactly. And I mean, this is why I think that there's another really important shift that business owners need to be aware of right now, which is really leaning into long form content,
Mm,
because the newest data is showing that people are consuming 11 hours or more of your content before they're making a decision about whether or not they want to work with you. And so if your content that you've been, and the market has been obsessed over the last couple of years with these, entertaining reels and short clips and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you're relying on that to get someone through 11 hours of content, you're in big trouble,
yeah.
right? So even if you don't have a lot of like complex tech or anything like that, like you don't need that. You
Mhm.
could be doing Facebook lives, Instagram lives, YouTube lives, LinkedIn lives, wherever you like to hang out, wherever your audience is, doing that weekly live show again, promoting it, inviting your email list to it, sending your top leads to it. That's going to be really, really crucial to make sure that, one, you're doing long form content consistently. Two, that you have a really good plan to drive traffic to that long form content. And then three, that you have a way that you're kind of pushing that out to your audience so that people that are considering buying from you don't have to search
Mhm.
and dig to try and find that. And we always assume that just because we put a lot of energy and focus into something that we create in our businesses, that people know about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not true. I've done thousands of podcast episodes between my own and going on other people's. And every time I go on someone else's, I talk about my show. And still, there's tons of people that don't even know that I have a podcast. I'm like, a
Yeah.
thousand episodes. You don't know I
Yeah.
have a podcast. I talk about it constantly, but they don't, right? So
Yeah.
you can make zero assumptions
Yes.
about what your prospects know. So make it easy for them to find you, make it easy for them to get to that 11 hours, give away your best stuff for free, make sure that you're consistently promoting your long form
Mhm.
content, and that's gonna make it a lot easier. It's gonna make it a
Yeah.
lot easier on you.
Yeah, I love one thing that you just said that I want to kind of like double click on.
Yeah.
Giving away your best stuff for free,
Hmm.
right? Gone are the days where people just want the five
Yeah.
tips too, or
Yeah.
this little teeny something, it just, if I download something that I don't think is really valuable to me, like instantly I unsubscribe.
I'm
And
exactly the same way.
right,
Like
I'm
I
like,
will never buy from a brand. Like if I download a free thing and I get it and I'm disappointed in it, I'll never buy from them.
yeah,
Because I'm like, if this is what you're giving me and you're trying to earn my business, then I'm not going to assume that the stuff I pay for is going to be better, right?
yeah,
And that I feel like people have like a very we got I think people got very lazy with that kind of stuff over the
yeah,
last couple of years because you could just get away with so much.
yeah.
And I just think it's really important to understand that, like, yes, that first impression really matters. And that should be stuff that you could charge for that you're giving away.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that I think was a big change and eye opener for me too, to just
Yeah.
see the level of value that you give
Hmm.
that, and I love when we talk about giving away our best stuff. When
Yeah.
clients say, well, how much should I give? I'm like, give them your best
Yeah.
stuff. Like,
Yeah.
why would they want to work with you if you're not giving your best
Exactly.
stuff? Right.
Yeah.
So, leading with value and, leading with your best stuff to,
Yeah.
share and give support has just been so, so powerful.
Yeah.
So thank you for talking about, that
Yeah.
giving you really, really high value, not just,
Exactly.
little
Exactly.
stuff. And one point that I also wanted to make too, because I think people are a little afraid that people are not buying. And I just want to kind of affirm and just have you affirm too that no, people are buying. They are
Oh
still spending
yeah.
money. They are still investing. They are still looking for support. It's just that they're taking a little bit longer in that ecosystem. They're just taking a little
Yeah.
bit more time to make the decision.
Absolutely. And I mean, we saw so many of our customers, you included, Chris, that had phenomenal starts to the year this year, and we did as well.
Mhm.
We had a great start to the year, and I think what it comes down to is just adjusting your strategy to win in the market. So it's not like, oh, are people buying or not buying? Yes, they are still buying, but they're buying differently, and
Mhm.
that's why I'm trying to get out in the market and do as many conversations, as many interviews as I can to just talk about what we're talking about. So I can
Yeah.
say, point one, adjust this, point two, adjust this, point three. It's not just saying like, oh, we're in a contraction, but actually giving people the playbook on like, these are the steps that you can take to win in this market.
Mhm.
People absolutely are buying. And the sooner you adjust your strategy, you'll be able to flow with the market, and you'll be able to still have people that are coming down to the bottom of your funnel consistently enough that you will be able to see predictability in your sales. But sometimes the business is running about 90 days behind you. So you need to make those adjustments and stick with them, sometimes for an entire quarter before
Mhm.
you really see like, okay, those adjustments that I made are working. And that's a huge mistake that I see from people all the time. They'll
Yeah.
they'll they'll ask for, coaching or feedback on something, and they'll come back like a day later and they'll be like, I did it, it didn't work. It's like, no, it doesn't work. Like you have to do something over and over and over again. And the business is always running about 90 days behind you. So you have to be able to take that in stride and understand that. But I mean, we teach the miracle hour, daily profit push. And, my perspective on it is if you get that right, you can make daily sales in your business, regardless of how new you are to the game or what business you're in. It's just about running those drills consistently and frequently and being really hyper vigilant about it.
Yeah, yeah, that consistency is so key.
Yeah.
One of the things that, that has really stuck with me also in being inside of your program and the business advisory is how are you making a sale every day, right? Like get in the habit of asking yourself,
Yeah.
what are we going to do today? Like, I wake up in the morning and I think, who do I get to serve today? And
Yeah.
that makes me excited. I'm like, who do I get to serve today? But even just saying, you know what, I'm going to invite, how are we going to make a sale? How are we going to make more invitations? And doing that consistently
Yeah.
instead of, putting all of your eggs in one giant launch or one giant
Yeah.
basket or one giant webinar or
Yeah.
funnel or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and I just think that is such an important mindset that people need to
Yeah.
be really clear about. This isn't about having one amazing quarter or one amazing
Yes.
launch.
Exactly. And I
Mhm.
mean, I tell people all the time, like, you're going to be working anyway. Why not work on something that makes you money? Why
Yeah.
not work on something that gives you something to celebrate at the end of the day each day? So, it is a little bit of a change for most people to like get in that habit, but it's just like anything else. You build the habit, and then
Yeah.
eventually the habit becomes your new normal, and you start to see results from it. And then when you start to see results from it, you're like, okay, let's keep doing this. This is working,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the things, and I just want to kind of touch on this piece because this is new. This is something that you just brought out, and that
Yeah.
is the virtual business school. And
Yeah.
so, I'd love, for you to share a little bit about, why did you feel that now was the right time for you to pull this out and or to start it and to support more entrepreneurs in this virtual way?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, like I said, I've been in this online space and high ticket coaching and consulting for over a decade. I started to see market decline and market contraction in 2022.
Mm,
And I have been talking about this on the podcast since 2022. And we felt it before anyone else felt it because we were just a bigger company.
right.
Most businesses in the online space are not doing the volume of revenue that we're doing. So we're feeling the changes to the market far sooner than other people. So, I started talking about it in 2022. And at that point, I rolled out the idea of building an internal buyers list and really looking at the value ladder for your ecosystem and saying, like, okay, there has to be something that comes first to build a relationship, with your client before they go straight into high ticket.
Mhm.
But for me, it's just been so many years of thousands and thousands of people that have said, I want your help, I need your help, but maybe they're not in a position to invest $30,000 to get high
Right.
ticket coaching and consulting. But I didn't have anywhere to send people that I felt comfortable, that
Mhm.
I was willing to put my name on. Like I,
Yeah.
I, I have to feel that I can
Yeah.
back something up, that it would be done the right way. Meaning that if someone came from that program into my program, I would be like, yes, like
Mhm.
the foundation is built, they're set up for success, they're doing things in an appropriate way, all of that. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to create it.
Mhm.
So my vision was, I build the school. It's called the Virtual Business School. Right now, it's $49 a month, no contract. quit anytime, 30 days notice. And the focus is just helping people build the fast foundations of profitable success. So it's really understanding business fundamentals of how do you create predictable recurring revenue. It's not for people that are looking to scale launches or do any of those things that we teach in our, high-end coaching consultant. This is how do you really master the basic habits that you implement in your business every single day to generate leads and close clients, to do effective marketing, to put your business on the map. And my hope and my goal is that within a couple of years of building this, that we'll actually be able to take the virtual business school into developing countries, give it for free, and basically allow people globally to get business education for $0 that otherwise people wouldn't be able to access. I mean, one of the things I've observed for so many years is that people come into my programs, they have loads of debt from going through other business programs, unfortunately, where they didn't learn things the right way, or maybe they went to an MBA program or a business mastery program or whatever. And I just was like, so that breaks my heart because debt it's such a heavy burden. And, I feel that when people are under the weight of that pressure, it's just, it impacts every other area of life, right? And I think the purpose of creating your own business is to achieve freedom. And I think when you're carrying the weight of that burden, it's just really, really hard. So I just wanted to create an alternative path for people to get actionable real world business education, that instead of it being theoretical in a college setting, or instead of it being mastery level for people that really need like fundamental basics, it's a place that's within reach. You can cancel Uber Eats and make spaghetti for dinner one night, and boom, your membership is paid for the month.
Amazing. Yes, and it also comes with in-person support, which is incredible. Like most courses, you download the course or you download the membership and all you get is the recordings and that's it.
That was, and I mean, that was so important to me. And I mean, the only reason that we can afford to do this is that for 10 years, we gave so much away for free, and we have such an engaged audience that is big enough to support this, that we don't need to go try and find new leads or find new people. We can monetize the people that have been sitting in our ecosystem, that have been waiting and hoping for something like this for years, and get them started. And to your point, so every month there's a new module of the month. There's a new marketing masterclass. There's a live Q&A. There's a live co-working with a templated kind of system for implementation. And our hope and our goal is that people can come there first before they go into really expensive coaching programs or masterminds or MBA or whatever, and have the foundations in place so that they don't have to go into debt when they go into those programs. They can hopefully already be in a place where they can
start
fund themselves. You know what I mean?
So good. So good. Kelly, this has been amazing. I feel like I could just chat with you all darn day. It's so good. So I just want to kind of make sure that everybody knows the Kelly Roach Show is Kelly's podcast. Please go check her out over there. We will absolutely have the link in the description. So check that out. We will make sure that you can find her. Kelly, anything else you want to share? Any other way that people could get in touch with you besides the Kelly Roach Show?
No, I mean, that's a great place to start. I'll give you the link to the virtual business school. But I mean, I would just say for everybody out there, like buckle up, ground in, get ready. There's going to be a lot of opportunity ahead. So it's just about kind of keeping your eye on the prize, knowing what you want to create for yourself, and staying focused on your journey.
Kelly, thank you so much. I so appreciate
Thanks for having me.
All right. All right, everybody. We will see you next time. Go check Kelly out, go to the podcast, and tell her that Chris sent you. All right, everybody. Bye.